Hello everyone, and welcome to another video tutorial. So far we created a few individual images and a few individual containers, and we saw how to run each container separately. Now we will learn how to use another Docker option to basically orchestrate multiple containers so they can run as one single logical unit instead of separate containers. And to accomplish this, we will use Docker networking to build a virtual network between containers. So as you can see here, as the instruction guide says, let's see down here, there we go. We're going to create a new bridge network using the Docker networking commands, and this is the command to run it. And actually, before I run this, I also want to run this command first, the Docker network list. So open up my terminal and Docker network list. Just want to show you what exists before I run the other command. So these are what's available to me. There's a network ID, there's a name, there's a driver, and then there's scope. So if I follow the instructions and copy this command here, again, Docker network is the command, and then create is what we're trying to do. And this is the name of my network or the virtual network that I'm trying to create. So I've copied that. I'm going to paste it and hit enter. And it created this ID for me. So, well, now if I do the same command, network list, now I should see, there we go. This is the virtual network that we just created. If I scroll down to the instructions, so we're going to do something for the backend, which is the API, and then we're going to do something for the front-end application as well. Now, to orchestrate in Docker, we use an application called Docker Compose, and to do that we have to create a YAML file, and YAML basically stands for yet another markup language. So this is the YAML, yet another markup language, and this is the code for it. Again, the file has to be called Docker Compose or Docker-compose.yml or .yaml. There are different versions also, but for the name part, the name is very specific, so you can't call it docker-compose-2022 or anything. Just it has to be docker-compose.yaml, and it needs to exist in the main directory of your application. So here in my VS Code, right in my main folder, I created a Docker Compose file, and all this is basically provided for you here. You just have to copy and paste it. Alright, but just make sure that the file is called docker-compose. Now, when you copy and paste it, just make sure that it shows up indented as you see here, because if it doesn't look indented, then this is not going to work. YAML is pretty much like some programming languages where the indentation is key. So it's very important that you see how we have some indentation here, and then some more indentation, and some more indentation. So the indentation part has to be accurate. Alright, so just pay attention to that. So this Docker Compose YAML file, basically, if you look at it line by line, you'll notice that we're basically going to be linking the Laughs API container with a Laughs DB container, which is a MongoDB. Okay, so remember from the first part of the assignment, when we ran it, the Laughs API, it would always it start and then it would quickly exit, and that's because it was trying to link to a MongoDB, but it's not finding any instance. So the way we're doing it here with this Docker Compose and the YAML file, we are going to be linking the API, the Laughs API container name, as it says here, with this MongoDB container. And scroll down in the instructions some more. And as you can see here, it says create the Docker Compose YAML file at the top of the project directory. The next step is to basically follow the instructions here, and it says to open up the server/datasources.development.js file, and then update or modify the values according to what's highlighted here in yellow. So let's go to server. Here it is, and then development data sources development.js, and here's the file. Now I've already updated the values here, but again, just make sure that you update whatever was here into this. And again, just make sure that it matches these values here that are highlighted in yellow. And the next instruction basically says to run this command, which is docker compose up. And what this is going to do is it's going to basically start up two containers at the same time. How is it going to do that? Well, it's going to basically call the docker compose YAML file, and from the YAML file it says, okay, let's boot up, Laughs API, let's boot up Laughs DB as well. So that's what the docker composer up is going to do. So if we go to our command line prompt, terminal, docker dash, actually let's make sure I'm in the right directory. So cd, and let's see, Laughs API. Okay, so now I'm in the right directory, and I could do docker dash compose and up. Hit enter. Okay, so the command came back, and now if I go to my Docker, now I see that I have the Laughs API, and inside of it I have the two containers. If I go back to my instructions, it says so on the shell dashboard, I'll hover the mouse over the Mongo container entry and click the shell CLI icon. Okay, so basically this is the shell icon that I need to run for the Laughs DB, which is this Mongo. Click on this, and from here type Mongo, and then show DBS, and then back to the instructions, and basically it tells us that these are the three databases currently found in MongoDB, and that admin is the default database. So now let's give it a try. I'm going to go back to my browser and do localhost :3000. I see that it's up and running. That's always a good sign. And then do Explorer. That takes me to here. And from here I click on question. And then I want to post. And in my data here, I basically am going to copy this input test question into my data field, and then click on try it. Okay, and I got a response code of 200. That's always good. And I also get to see that I have an ID generated for my question. So that's the response body. I have an ID for it, and also I get a response code of 200. Now if I go back to my terminal and do show DBS, I now see my new database, the Laughs DB, has been created for us. So I'm going to go back to my instructions, and now it says use Laughs DB and show collections, and I'm going to copy this for now. So use Laughs DB, switch to DB, and then show collections. Here's question, and then I'm going to paste the command and I hit enter, and there we go. So the question that I just added did show up here. Again, here's all the information. What is the meaning of life? Question, what is the meaning of life? So that's exactly the information that I entered in for my question. So now we basically verified that I am able to enter a question, and it does call the API, and it writes information to the database. Next, we need to do now the front end, which is the web interface. Now for the front end application, the Angular application, we also need to create another Docker Compose YAML file and then link it to the existing virtual network that we have. So if we look at the instructions, here is our Docker Compose YAML file, and again it needs to be within the Laughs web project directory. And here we're gonna basically link the Laughs web container with the Laughs net. So now we're gonna add this third container, because we already under Laughs net we have LAFSDB and we have LAFS API. Now we're going to add the LAFS web to the LAFSnet group. And the only thing we need to change, well, before I guess we can change this file, this is the Docker Compose. So if you go back to Visual Studio, I have opened the LAFS web project and then my Docker Compose YAML file. Here it is. And again, I just basically did a copy from this code, highlight all this and copy it, and then paste it here. But again, just make sure that you have the indentation looks proper. Okay. And once we do that, then we just need to modify the again the source environments environment.ts and point it to the local 3000. Initially this was pointing to something else, so just make sure that you update the API URL. And again, that's under source environments environment.ts. So if I go to source, then environments and environment TS. Okay, so this was the old value and now this is the new value, so it could run locally. All right, and now we just need to start our container. Let's go to Docker, start it up here, and according to the instruction, go to the localhost 4200. So let's go to our browser. We open up another one, localhost 4200. Click on the Angular category. Here's the question that I entered into the LAFSDB. And now if I go back to my terminal and do docker ps to see, processes that are running currently. And let me expand this a little bit some more. And I get to see that I have my API, my DB, and my front end all running together. So that's what Docker Compose allows us to do. It allows us to basically combine multiple containers into one logical unit, so we can control them instead of deploying one by one and then starting one by one. Now we could basically just deploy the whole thing and run the whole thing by doing Docker Compose up, and then everything starts up together. So that's pretty much it for assignment number 2. If you have any questions, please do let me know. I'll be more than happy to help out at any time. Thanks, and so that was week 2 assignment. So this was week 2 assignment 2. If you have any questions on it, please do let me know. And again, thank you for watching. I'll be seeing you in class. Take care, everyone, and bye for now.